Hello and welcome to the stream, guys. Appreciate that host, by the way, Panda. Appreciate that, man. Welcome to the stream, dude. Today, guys, we will be having our first podcast today. Well, technically second, but first. Today we are joined by ShadowIX. We're going to be discussing the current landscape of Pokemon MMOs and possibly other MMOs in general as well too. So, Shadow has been a part of the Pokemon MMO realm for quite some time. Let's say since I would never do that. I don't do things like that. Also on cam. Either way, man, appreciate you, dude. How you been? So Shadow has been. Just give you guys a little bit of like a rough background of Shadow. He's been playing Pokemon MMO since, at least I could remember, since Pokemon Planet days, which is pretty far back, maybe about 2016, 17, if I'm mistaken. So he's been in the genre for quite some time. So he's got a lot of insight, a lot of knowledge throughout these games. He's also a developer himself. He's never developed an MMO, at least to my knowledge, or at least a Pokemon MMO. But he also has like a lot of background information on that as well too, since he went to school for it and whatnot. So you know he's got a lot of insight on these games, the mechanics, the basis of what he's seen over the years. So he's got a lot of insight, and I kind of want to pick his brain on this. So it'd be really interesting to hear his thoughts on the current landscape of Pokemon MMOs, the evolution of where they've come from. So it'll be a quite interesting stream. Now, keep in mind, we're not intentionally going to be bashing or purposely bashing any of these MMOs that we talk about or anything like that at all. It is just thoughts and opinions. That's all it is. Whether you like our opinions or not, you can take it, throw it out the window. That is completely up to you. But this is more or less meant to be an actual just our thoughts and opinions on what we've gone throughout the time. So it'd be kind of interesting, like I said, to hear about his experience throughout the journey. Now, ShadowIX is currently in Poke 1. Has had one of the longest reigning guilds, known as Mystial Void, which are still currently very active and very, I would say, heavy on the PvP side as well too. Shadow has had a lot of knowledge throughout the years about PvP teams and etc. So it will be like I said, it will be very interesting to hear what he has to say about the current landscape of P1, PRO, Poke MMO. There's a whole bunch of them out there. We're gonna go on about it, especially PBO. Now, before we get into that as well too, I want to make sure you guys know that any PBO fans out there, anything like that at all, we are truly not trying to bash it, but we have a lot of knowledge and a lot of information, and it's accurate, and as well as myself as being a current Pokemon Blaze Online staff member from the first version of it. So this is just passed down knowledge throughout the time of us, being in there. Plus, me and Shadow and Cujo and a couple others that I know, we've been OG players of Pokemon Blaze Online back when it first launched, and this is before Poke 1's time, of course. So when we get into that, just keep in mind, we're truly not trying to bash it, but we're just giving you our thoughts and our opinions. That's all it is. But with that being said, I am going to, and I'm also going to be playing gameplay as well of me playing Poke 1. I got to do some bounties as well today, so it's going to be a split screen. So it's going to be one side, the podcast, the other side of me just doing a little bit of gameplay as well too for Poke 1 today. It won't be a very long stream today. I kind of want to, don't want to go on for hours, because believe me, we could go on for hours. Don't want to do that today. So with that being said, I'm going to switch on over to ShadowIX and kind of shoot the shit and see what we can pick from him, what we can pick from his brain. Give me a second here, guys, and we will switch on over. Okay. we are here. We are live into the Discord, and I'm gonna unmute. Shadow, can you hear me?
Yeah, now again.
Hell yeah, there we go. Yeah, I had to go through all these little bases of getting stream warmed up. Instead of
All
just
right.
playing my game. So Shadow, welcome. First, I should say second podcast. I don't know if you kind of heard a little bit, but I kind of elaborated a little bit on your background from the stream. I've said that from back maybe 2016, 2017, I believe, you started playing Pokemon Planet Online. Is that your first one, or was that not your first one?
It was the first Pokemon MMO I recently started playing since my 10 or 15-year break, whatever it was. It's the first official MMO I played, Pokemon-wise.
Yeah.
And it's also the first game I returned to after I stopped playing from like Pokemon Emerald back then.
Oh, so you used to play my game. Okay, cool.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was the last game I played.
So throughout that, when you first started playing Pokemon Planet Online, what were your thoughts back then? Were you just kind of new to it, or is it just kind of like it was like really your first official MMO, correct? So what were your thoughts back then, given the state from what you remember?
I kind of liked it because it was difficult for a player with no Pokemon knowledge almost.
Yeah.
But it was really frustrating as well to get anything for your team. The rates were horrible. Leveling was way too grindy as well.
That I could atone to this day.
Yeah, I think you couldn't even get legendaries back then, or they were like almost impossible to get one.
Right.
I think there were a few around. I remember people farming for Zapdos, I think, in the power plant.
So, have you recently have you ever recently visited back on Pokemon Planet Online, or was that kind of like your, what was the thing that made you quit?
Well, actually, I didn't quit. I got banned for it from it.
Oh shit! So, if we could elaborate, how did you get banned, or what was the reason? Or if you don't want to elaborate, we could just say next question, please.
It's just I had just started working that summer, so I didn't have no time to play. I wanted to be able to actually enjoy it still. So I was making use of macros, and I learned the hard way that you should never use them. And
yeah. And for a lesson for anybody that knows, and this is still currently to this day, if you are playing a Pokemon fan MMO, they majority do not. No, so you don't have a sync. Yes, Kuja, I don't have a sync. I'm just looking for this muck, and I don't even know where it is. I'm just kind of just doing my own thing right now. Now majority nowadays, you do not, in these fan MMOs, you do not want to use macros. It is highly forbiddable for you to do that. It's forbidden, should I say? Sorry, for you to be using macros. They will detect that, and you probably, for the most part, will be banned. So, just a lesson learned for most of these MMOs. Don't use macros. It's a no. But yeah, so Shadow, when you got caught, what made you find, because I'm going down the journey for what at least I know, what made you, or how did you find Pokemon Blaze Online? Because I believe that was your next game right after Pokemon Planet.
Yes.
So how did you find it?
After I got banned, I was going to quit Pokemon in general again.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to deal with that bullshit grind, which is tedious and pointless.
Mm-hmm.
However, I had met two people through PPO, which kind of kept contact with them, and they told me that I should try PBO out. So that's how PBO pretty much started for me.
So when you first came into PBO, how early of the stages did you come? Now we're talking about Pokemon Blaze Online version 1. We're not at the version 2 yet. So when you first came into version 1, 2017, I believe, what stage did you come into it, and what were your thoughts on coming into it as well?
Um, it was in the. I think they had the fifth gym back
Yeah.
then released. It
Yeah.
was the one in the desert, pretty much right after the desert. I think that was the fifth one. That's when I joined the game. Um, the game looked interesting for me because it had Gen 7 months back then,
Yeah.
and I had just found out that Vulpix Alola exists in Gen 7. That's the only reason I started Pokemon again. I wanted to use that thing.
Yeah. I remember this. Yeah.
And I was pretty much looking forward to actually get to use it, which is why I have kind of asked for it multiple times after I have joined to make it a reality.
Right.
The
So-
game was
Go ahead.
okay. Continue.
No,
Yeah,
go ahead.
The game was still pretty early state. There was custom SP system in it, so it was something new for me. It was like I didn't know Pokemon that much besides the first 3 gens,
Yeah.
but I was still a new player, and my only goal was to learn how to PvP, become good in this game, and
So,
in general.
My
Pokemon in
question is
general.
to you: what made you really thrive into doing PvP in Pokemon? What are your interests in that exactly?
Um, when I was young, I used to like a lot of strategy games, you can say, kind of.
Yeah.
And I feel like I like PvP in general, any game I play. Like I played MMOs before. I simply play it for their PvP. Pokemon wise, I wanted to learn PvP because I'm a very competitive person, as everyone fucking knows. And
Yep.
the PvP concept of Pokemon is pretty much strategy. So I want to learn what strategies can be used for these games. As long as the strategies are fun and I can make up my own stuff, I'm willing to put my time in it to learn it and experiment.
So this is what makes you the competitive player that you are today. Well, we'll get to that shortly, but I should say was anyways. I mean, I know you still do play here and there, but we'll get to that point. So back to the PBO subject. So when we were in PBO, what was your biggest? What was the biggest thing that you enjoyed? We'll start with that. What was the biggest thing that you enjoyed during the time of being in Pokemon Blaze Online of 2017 to 2018, I believe, correct?
Yeah,
Right.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I think the best part of that game was like the first few weeks of Crew Wars release.
Right.
It was something new,
Yeah.
something competitive,
Mhm.
and it was teamwork based. Like you cannot defend on your own, you cannot attack on your own. Like,
Right.
I mean, you can do it, but you won't do it efficiently. And I think that that's the best feature that PBO had and still has.
Yeah. Now, do you believe that that feature came from Pokemon Cyrus Online? Do you think that that's where it was inspired from?
Maybe. I'm not familiar with PCO that much.
Yeah.
I played it.
I remember back in the day. I remember that Snakes had actually said that he was very heavily influenced on Pokemon Cyrus Online, and that's where. And as long as you guys do not know, that it was a custom stat game, Pokemon Blaze Online. Now this was the version 1. I'm not talking about the current one. Like I said, we'll get to that. But it was current stat building for your team, and that would be like a TP system. So Shadow, do you kind of want to elaborate a little bit more since you understand what the current what the old PBO system was as to the TP system?
Okay, so basically, I don't remember the formula exactly. I think it was instead of getting like EV training and getting no, it's pretty much EV training. Like in the current system, Pokemon wise, the standard system,
Yeah.
your mons will always scale based on their IVs,
Yeah.
first of all. And then you can improve like usually 2 stats, sometimes more,
Yeah.
depending on the EV spread you go for your mons. Um, Instead, in the old PBO, they decided to, I think it was half the like base stat of the mons
Yeah.
as a default base, like the new base of that mon. And for each level up, you get 3 stats where you can assign manually whatever you like.
Now, do you remember with the shinies? Wasn't the shinies a little bit extra? You get 6, I think. Isn't that what it was?
I don't. I think yes, shinies had 10 extra stats, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know about the legendaries. I don't remember that. I don't know if that's what it came with. I can't recall that part because I know that there was
They didn't.
legendary dogs later on in the game
Yeah,
that
but that
drop
was
shards.
pretty much in the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they drop shards. So coming into that subject, do you miss the custom stat building system in a Pokemon game? Did you enjoy that? Did you
Um,
not? Did you think that it was just too, no pun intended, far fetched?
I think it's a fun system, but personally, I prefer to stay away from it. If I want to learn something, I want to be able to apply it to other games when I move on from it.
Right.
For example, after PBO, there are other MMOs you can try. You can even try the standard games again,
Mm-hmm.
and they use completely different system compared to PBO. So whatever you learn in that game, you're not learning to its full potential. It might even confuse you a bit because it's a bit too much and
Yeah.
frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where I've had a conversation with another mutual friend that we have in this Discord as well because he's currently still playing PCO, which is still out there, and I'm not a fan of it. But I'm not, it's not my cup of tea. Never been a fan of the custom stat building as well either. That's something that I had a hell of a time understanding. If it wasn't for you and Delquest back then and Mastered, I would have been completely screwed. I just used the mons, and as broken as it was, and this is where we started to get kind of into the cons of it. It was still fun, and the thing that I think that kept us into that game was us being in a guild or a crew at that time for Crew Wars. I think that's really in that time frame is really what kept PBO alive was Crew Wars itself because we all looked forward to it. The crew tokens and whatnot. You could get the token shop and all that other stuff. I think that was really the big thing that kept us in the game at that time. Do you agree with that, or do you have any other elements that you think that kept you in that game?
Um, like there was always the hope that the game would actually improve as well, which is why most people tend to stay in a game because
Yep.
they don't want to restart elsewhere. The main reason we stayed is for Crew Wars, I agree. However, Crew Wars had a lot of flaws in itself as well.
Mm-hmm. Now that's where we get into the cons of it. Now, from what my knowledge was, and me being part of a staff team as well too at that time, Crew Wars was the worst cons of it was the staff abuse, right? Now you remember a certain person that was on the staff, actually a couple people, which actually is
Yep,
still a current staff member to this day on the current version. I am not going to
not
label names.
anymore.
Oh, did he get removed?
He stepped down.
Fair enough. But back then, there was these two that had abused, and I will say the crew name. At least I will say they were part of Illusion, right? and then they broke off into being sexy or something like that. I can't remember. It
I'm
was a
not
really
sure
weird name.
I'm not sure if both were an illusion. One of them was for sure.
Okay, so we'll
The
say
other one
illusion
was in
and sexy
sexy
or
or
whatever.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think it was that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there was two staff members who had abused, and the owner at the time was not taking, the community's feedback, and with the proof and with video proof as well too, was still not taking the feedback, and what we would call selective favoritism towards that person. Actually, those two individuals. Um, that's kind of where I feel like PBO started going downhill back then, was when we started to notice that the favoritism coming from the staff was in play, and that there was really no repercussions for the staff abuse that had happened back then. Do you agree with that at all? Do you feel like a little bit of the downfall from 2017 to 18 PBO's version 1 was a contribute to the staff abuse?
The majority, that is the main reason why players leave, yes.
Yeah, right. And then
There is
go
one
ahead.
more reason though why people
Go ahead.
kind of
Elaborate. Let everybody know.
yeah, like besides the abuse from the mods,
Yeah.
which made people rage quit on the game because the abuse was actually ridiculous the way they did it. Like
Mm-hmm.
everyone knows it.
Yep.
Got proof and nothing happens. No punishment, no consolation, whatever. And okay, like most people quit because of that. Those who tried to stay then ended up leaving due to the game felt like it wasn't being maintained anymore for a really long time. Like
Mm-hmm.
nothing new coming in, no fixes happening, reports reporting shit is pointless because nothing happens for a long time. That's pretty much it. Like it feels like the game was just being there, just say it's up and running, but nothing is actually happening around.
Yeah, like I recall though too, and this was obviously again 2017 to 18. The majority of the game, the moves were broken, the items were broken, and the abilities were broken. Correct? Majority.
Yeah.
Yeah. And back then we had obviously part of their Discord. Then there was always the false claims that they were working on it, they were fixing the abilities, and then when they would say that, they would contradict themselves by saying, oh, we can't do this, we can't code it because it will not work. Now the current system, or the system they were using back then as well too, and I think it's still the current one, I think they maybe moved to a different little bit of a different framework, but it was Java. And I think now the current system now, the 2021, is still on Java, but I think it's like moved up a little bit on the different framework, I believe.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty much the same. It just has some added development functionality you can
Yeah.
make use
Yeah.
of.
So back then, the death of PBO version 1, what do you think is what the main reason that killed it?
I think it's a combination of all these things.
Yeah.
Like, besides, okay, let's go back to the pros of the situation. Back then, besides Crew Wars, they did a really good event, which was the Halloween one, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the game peaked through it. It got what? Let's say it got 150 members. It's not
Right.
much,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
for a game like that, it's decent amount.
Throughout the end, though,
And
you noticed that there was barely like, we would probably get like what, maybe like 30 people, if that.
yeah, exactly. Like after that event, it ended with some stupid shit
The
decisions
Mewtwo,
taken from the
the
devs. No,
Mewtwo event.
I mean the event, the Halloween event.
Oh,
It
yes.
ended with changing the spawn rates to make it easier for the last 2 hours of the event or something,
Mm-hmm.
which is complete bullshit because I have spent literally a week hunting one, it's never spawned. I couldn't play on the last day because I had my own stuff to do. And that day, he decides to make the rates easier and a lot of that one were caught throughout that day.
Yep.
And till this day, it's a freaking meme that I did not catch a dino yet in PBO.
Hey, at least you didn't kill one like I did. That was
So,
a
yeah,
meme for me myself.
like they had good events. Halloween was the best one I can recall. They had some other good ones. Like as a game, it had a decent events. I give them that. However, they did not work on something to retain the players in the game. And
Yep.
for
That's
crew
facts.
wars, you need player base. So once you're not trying to retain the players, you have a game full of bugs. You have moderators abusing as much as possible. The moderator gets caught, he gets demoted, he gets reassigned as a mod after 2 days or something. And on top of that, adding like there was no balance in the SP system. And lastly, the last event, they just added legendaries where we never had legendaries before, which is fine. You can introduce some powerful stuff in the game, but releasing one of the strongest ones, which is Mewtwo, then
That broke the game.
it's
Honestly,
just
that broke
it
it.
just says you kind of don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember that event though to this day. I mean, it was everyone everyone was hunting for that. I mean, there were so many of them though too. I remember the certain leader of Illusion as well. Alakazam was better than Mewtwo XD because of SPS. That's what Delquest is saying. Um, I remember that though too. I remember if you remember the leader of Illusion, how he got all of his members to actually hunt down that perfect Mewtwo for him. And do you remember how like he was just spamming it after and just spamming it after, and he was just like gloating that he got the Mewtwo and pretty much just like shoving it at everyone's face. And then he brought it to Crew Wars, I believe. And literally, I remember like one of the last Crew Wars, he was literally crushing everybody, and they wanted that Mewtwo to be banned from Crew Wars, and they wouldn't. He was not budging. The owner was not budging for it because he literally got the perfect Mewtwo for that system, and people were just complaining left, right, and center on it, and there was nothing done about it. Again, favoritism to the current leader of Illusion, who was also the staff member. So, like, how do you feel about the Mewtwo being added in as the last event before the death of PBO of version 1? How do you feel about that whole situation?
Yeah, I mean, you can add legendaries. Like, if I want to not think about any repercussions and I want to add legendaries in a game, I would go for the dogs or birds without even thinking about anything else. If you add those, you're probably going to be fine. If you consider, or there's the Mass Spirit like Trio and stuff like that, if you want to see repercussions with your SP system, then you need to think a bit further. Adding Mewtwo was the worst idea possible. Granted, he only did it to keep the players in the game, but in reality, if you have this God mode Pokemon in the game and no one to use it against, because everyone's going to quit from your game because they don't want to face stupid shit like that, and it's pointless releasing it.
Yep. It was more or less the eye candy, which was the appeal to keep the base, to keep people wanting to come in because, hey, we're doing what most other MMOs don't do, and is allow Mewtwo to actually be captured and used throughout PvP and etc. And so that's the we'll call it the Joker's card that he pulled. And well, fair enough. As Delquest is saying right there, that event killed the game since it was just pure luck. Even pay to win couldn't get it. Exactly it as well too. I mean, that whole entire event, that whole Joker's card was the final straw and amongst the community. At least the loyal ones that were back then that stood by, his side and the gaming community side of that at that time. And it was just a smack in everyone's face. It was just like, we've grinded and grinded for our PvP mons to be at a certain level for months. I mean, it took months. It was not an easy grind in that game. It was very heavy for most. I mean, it was definitely not for casuals. That's for damn sure. Hence, what was the number again of how many people actually left that game when they first started out? I believe Delquist, you actually have that knowledge as well of how many people actually officially left. They would start out making their character, and I don't even think they even got to what the first gym Delquest was it. Yeah, I believe
I
the number
think,
was over 1,000. I believe.
yeah, I think most of them struggled to beat the third gym. Like they either get stuck in the first, second, or third.
Yeah, well, what the statistics that were sent to me and Delquest at that time, we were told by him himself, Snakes, it was over 1,000, I believe. I don't even think they really got past the starter area. I could be wrong. Oh, it says like 80% quit after Gym 1. Okay, so it was Gym 1. So, yeah, and that was, if that didn't speak volumes to an owner, a developer, back then what really would speak volumes to, for that community?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that. What does that really? What does that imply to a community that is investing time and money into your product, and you're just not wanting to deliver back? For our time being wasted into your product. And mind you, you do want our time. You do want us to be there. So you cannot say I don't care if you play here or not. You do want us to play there, or else this product that you are pushing out there, you have no community. Therefore, what's the point of launching your product? You know what I mean? So to say that you don't care about it, that's a statement that they cannot carry on. Or else you just created a project just for yourself. We know that that's bullshit. And we also know back then which kind of carries over to this day, that it wasn't back in the PBO, and this is where I wanted to pick your brain. Back in the first PBO, I don't know if I could call it pay to win, but there were those boxes that you would get Pokemon that you could
there's
not,
definitely pay to win.
yeah, that you could not get in the wild. And I remember a couple of my friends and a couple of mutual friends of yours as well that had invested over hundreds of dollars into getting these Pokemon boxes. By rare chance did you get the one that you wanted, and by rare chance did you get the nature or ability that you wanted, because there was no guarantee.
Actually, the nature is important, but it's not as important in this game because you have custom SP system, so you can work around it most of the time.
Yeah.
Ability,
so it was the ability.
Doesn't matter because we had ability capsules and.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So we had way to modify the abilities. The main problem was you're buying this box, which can, I don't remember the exact number. I think you can get one Pseudomon.
Yeah.
Or a selection out of 7 trash mons like Raticate and stuff like that. Ponyta, whichever. Like mons you won't ever use. So you're paying for a mon, and you're not even guaranteed to get this mon.
Exactly.
Like you don't even have a selection between 8 pseudos and you get one randomly.
Right.
You can get actual trash in return for your investment. That is the first pay to win aspect. Another aspect which kind of ruins the game was that he was doing these auctions for in-game cash just to have a money sink.
Yeah.
Which he was auctioning exclusive months which no one will have access to for a really long time. And then you're ruining the balance of the game.
Yep.
Auctioning shinies with 10 extra stats could seem as game breaking, but I don't really mind that much. But auctioning exclusive mons like Tozapex and Ferrothorn was really stupid in my opinion.
Yeah. So I mean, like, if for people that had invested so many hours back then, it was like a big giant slap in our face constantly as well too. And we had even stated as well, and I know me and Delquest, when he was coming up with ideas, we were trying to push away from more of the pay to win and actually give back into more of the community, because not everybody's going to have money to invest in these kind of games, and not everybody's going to want to invest in these kind of games when you've got actual real legit games, real legit MMOs out there, you know what I mean? Like, but it was like there was ideas for like pay for what was it, the membership Delquest or something like that, to use the
Membership
teleports.
gave, yeah,
Yeah,
I think so, or
yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
and it was
I mean,
like that kind of stuff. Just oh shit, I used the wrong move. Oops. But that kind of stuff though is what I was trying to push, like help him push to get away from that idea, and it just seemed like he more wanted the money in his pockets. Yeah, TP never needed membership. No, but
you got discounted teleports. That's
yeah,
pretty much it.
but he
Which, in
wanted
my
to.
opinion, it's fine. I mean, you,
He wanted to do that though, Delquest. When we were in a call with him, he wanted to do certain ones that had like a donation or something like that, that you could use the teleporters for free that wouldn't cost you anything. And I spoke
yeah, we had
strongly against
healers
that.
like that as well.
You had what?
We had healers like that. If
Oh
you have
yeah.
membership, you can heal.
Yeah. That's right too. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, the membership thing was always a thing in PBO, but back then though, it was way more of a pay to win option to get these mods, like you said, in the wild, that you could not ever that you could not ever get in the wild, that you can get out of these boxes, which was a slap to our face because like I said, and he didn't even have the proper system back then to actually really donate to the game without having like an official credit card or something like that. Never had the PayPal kind of aspect to it like he does now, of course. So I mean, it was a struggle for a lot of us, and when you wanted to buy a Pokemon on that market back then, which he did have an auction house, it was more of a struggle, and the money that you made in that game from the wild battles, it would take you a long fucking time before you'd ever actually be able to actually get that said Pokemon from those boxes and whatnot. It would have been a ridiculous amount, talking millions,
Yeah.
right? Because they were that rare because of how special they were in the box. So
Like even in like the not exclusive ones, which are, let's say, the rarest form, like ultra rares and stuff like that, you won't find any for sale, because who in his right mind would farm for a month for 3-4 days, a week, 2 weeks, just to find one, and then hope he gets a usable nature just to sell it? Like,
yeah, exactly.
you need to have nothing to do with your life to do something like that, because on top of that, we needed to grind for days to get some XP in this game.
Yeah, weeks actually, weeks. Even if you had some kind, I don't even know if they had a booster thing or something like that. Priest.
Yeah, we
Priest.
got like we had
Priest.
priests,
Yeah.
and we had like 10% boosters through membership, I think.
Yeah, I think that's yeah. And then there was like the money drop as well too. I think there was something like that as well, but it didn't really boost very much at all. It was just
It was item drop.
yeah. Like I'd say I understood where he was coming from, the economy wise, but the economy was so tight that it just literally and eventually broke itself, because it was just you would find these people that would do this for months, doing the finding ways to make that money and whatnot. Then you'd always wonder, well, why did we have exploiters coming in the game and everything else like that? Because you literally left that door open for exploiters to come into that game because of how set and tight you made that economy. There was you were not bringing in any new community members, because it was, like I said in the beginning, not meant for casuals, and casuals wanted to play it, but they couldn't because it was just so damn hard, and people don't really have that much time at that time anyways, before the COVID stuff happened, to invest into a game like that. It was very hard to find investments from players into a game for the economy that it was giving us. So that was another push away for other people as well too, because a lot of people like coming into MMOs to make money, and to grind it out, and make obviously good teams or good your character, armor, everything else like that, you know what I mean? But when you have something that's so tight like that, you only speak to a culture of of players that enjoy that kind of stuff. So if you were ever wanting to like reach an audience of like, and I know this back then, he always wanted to have a Pokemon Revolution Online audience because his layout was very close to Pokemon Revolution's layout, but was completely different, and he wanted that drop, but he couldn't obtain it, and it's because again he tried copying another system, and I know this for a fact, Pokemon Cyrus Online, because he wanted to be a lot like them. That's the whole ideas that it came in from, was from Pokemon Cyrus Online. So he was trying to not only be Pokemon Cyrus Online, but he was trying to be like Pokemon Revolution Online, and trying to mix these two together. And obviously, when you're not trying to be original and not trying to make your own format, these are the consequences that you get. You fall into a category where your game eventually shuts down because you're not being original. You're not sticking to your own vision. Instead, you're taking two other, MMOs, combining them together and taking their ideas. And what do we get? We get a giant fucking shit show. That's exactly what happened. And he did not like that. I know that for a fact. And he didn't like the criticism either. But here's the thing: if you're running an MMO, you better well damn understand that you are going to get criticism in any MMO or any video game. You're gonna get criticism anywhere you go, no matter what you do. You know what I mean?
Yes,
You
especially
have
if I'm playing the game.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is your product. You want gamers to review your product. You cannot sit there and say, well, I don't enjoy this criticism. Then why did you make the game in the first place? You're going to have criticism regardless on anything you do in a video game world. Regardless, Whether you like it, you don't like it, it's still the facts, though, too. When you hear that criticism, though, you take it and you figure out, okay, well, what will it take to help fix this game? Maybe I should start listening to my community. Maybe I don't have to listen to everything, because let's be for real, a lot of people have some crazy, ridiculous things, and I get that. But you still want to listen to what your community has to say. At least take it in, whether it goes in one ear, out the other. You still want to be there. You still want to kind of give your community that knowledge that, well, I'm taking your ideas, I'm considering it. Maybe we can have a community meeting and, we could all come up with some kind of idea or something like that. But there was nothing like that ever back then. He actually shut down a lot of ideas that everybody had. And it was just that what he wanted, it was his way. And I get that. That's your baby. You designed this. This is your baby. We understand that, as gamers, we understand that if you're making these MMOs, and especially fan-made ones as well too, that this is your baby. Okay, we get it. But you also opened up the door for that criticism, and you've also opened up the door for a community to be involved with you and your baby. So why not, not understand, but why not, acknowledge us and, give us a little bit of hindsight of what you what we could do to help benefit your game, and I feel back then that's we got shut down, and that's where a lot of, again, where we were probably hesitant again when PBO 2021 came back out. We were probably kind of all hesitant to come back to it again because history repeats itself more or less for everything.
Yeah, to be fair, between the first version and the latest one, he started being more open-minded. He started like implementing stuff people requested, but
now are we talking about the current one right now?
Like in between.
Yeah.
After
Okay.
it shut down, he started taking into consideration what people requested back then. In this 3-year downtime, or what it was, he started going forward with it, kind of.
Yeah.
Until release, I can say he did. Maybe even 1 month, 2 months in.
But I was gonna say we'll get to that, the new PBO. We'll get to the new one. Yeah. So officially, though, me and you can agree, though, the big killer of PBO version 1 was the Mewtwo event, the broken bugs, the broken movesets, the abilities, the false hope of thinking that this game could have become something great, special, but failed to obtain due to the lack of communication and the favoritism from the staff. Do we agree that that is the content as
Yes.
well too? Yeah, content as well too.
And on top of that, P1 was about to be released
Yeah, this is
in
where
the
I was
last
actually leading off to.
event.
So, yeah, that's actually where I was actually gonna lead off to. So, we all agree though that that was the killer of the first PBO, correct? Right.
Exactly, yes.
So after PBO closed down, me, you, and Delquest, we all sat in a voice call, one of my old discords at the time. We all started talking about this new game that was on the horizon. And that was in 2018. I believe June 25th. I believe that was when our cards were all original from our original ones. Was Pokemon or Poke 1. And we knew that that was coming out. And so what did we, us three, we tried it out. And fair enough, obviously, to this day, we mostly like it. I do at least. We'll get to that part with you, Shadow. But we discovered that this new game was coming out, and at the time, I know for you, you had a lot of high hopes again after being let down from the previous Pokemon Blaze Online version 1. We seen that there was a lot of high hopes for it, and a lot of content giving considering the state of where we just came from. And there was a guild back then as well, with guild options, which we were actually, I remember me and you and Delquest were just like ecstatic on that because it looked cool, and we were actually have our own emblems above your head, like for your guild.
Custom.
Yeah, it was custom. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what drew us three in there at that time was, there was a lot more custom, and there was a lot the visuals as well too, but we all know we don't really always follow for the visuals, but the visuals in Poke 1 to this day is still amazing. But that's, what was your biggest draw into coming into Poke 1 with me and Delquest? I can't really speak for Delquest because he's not here because he's too shy to be on a podcast. But called out by the way. But what was your biggest draw into coming to Poke 1 after being let down from PBO?
I think I still felt like I needed to learn the actual PvP system,
Right.
like stat system, nothing custom, the official system.
Well,
So I
good.
pretty much wanted to,
Hold on one
I
second.
wanted to
Hold on one second.
experiment.
Hold on one
Yeah.
second. Mr. Dalquest, and jump in voice 1 and I'll move you down because it's about time.
I mean, for me, like me joining P1 and all these different games, I had motivation. I liked the games and stuff like that. I had fun. But like nowadays, I'm like burnt out in a way because it's like the same stuff over and
Cujo,
over
are you
again.
not
and,
reading the YouTube comments at all?
Yeah, I'm reading them.
What is? I'm being tagged that you should be reading them. What's going on? Not reading the YouTube.
Nothing. He wants attention, I think. But
Oh, okay. Cujo will be my moderator for YouTube. FYI, just saying, Vixlo. Sorry, sorry about that. Delquest, join voice chat 1 or 2, and I'm gonna move you down here with us.
hello, slow and stuff. I'm sorry, I haven't really been talking. I was letting them hash their things out.
Sorry to cut you off like this, Shadow. I'm just trying to
Right.
just trying to get
Vixlo
everything
says
set here.
hi.
Hello,
Vixlo says
Vixlo.
hi.
Hello. Yes, we are interviewing Shadow today, but I also would like to get Delquest in here because he was along the ride for this next big story between Shadow, me, and Delquest. Wasn't anything like bad or anything like that at all. Cujo, you're always in the shadow. No pun intended.
And sus.
Yeah. All right.
Even before like I met you guys, I was like part of different people's like guilds and stuff like that, and I had a community that I thought I was like a part of. But then I started like met you guys and started hanging out with you, and got to know you and play games with you and stuff like that.
Right.
Like
Right.
I was part of, I was, at one point I was part of Illusion and stuff like that, but it was never.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Even I joined Illusion. I almost
Yeah.
think everybody in that server almost joined Illusion except for Delquest and Shadow. I
I
believe.
didn't.
No, I don't. Yeah, Master
Yeah.
did though. I believe. I forget.
Yeah,
His,
yeah,
Video,
yeah.
game, video gamer.
Yeah.
Video game, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Master Video Game. I don't know. There's too many names. But so okay. So now that I've got you here, Delquest, you can unmute by the way. You don't have to be shy. Everybody wants to hear your beautiful voice. You already stream on Twitch as it is already. Make sure you follow Delquest. Just click on his name and smack that follow button for him. He streams what was it? Baruto to Naruto, right? Striker? Yeah. He's becoming a pretty big streamer, FYI. So yeah, so make sure you tune into Delquest's streams. I knew this would get him.
All right. Okay. What do you mean?
I was just getting you to unmute. I was hyping you up in chat.
No,
Make
my
sure
mic
everybody.
wasn't,
Oh, okay. That's
working.
making sure people give you a follow as well too. So again, well, I'm asking Shadow what it was that made him come into P1, and you can elaborate as well too what you had felt as well too that made you come into P1 as well too. So Shadow, go ahead, start, since this interview is mainly about you, but I've always wanted Delquest on here as well, so two for the best, because
Nice.
it was
We
us.
can share it.
It was us
share
three
this
that
spotlight.
originally, decided this next chapter. So go ahead,
Yeah.
Shadow.
Okay, so
I'm gonna just watch them real quick. So go ahead. And start the
I
stream now.
didn't drop on Pokemon completely because I still felt like I can learn more how to PvP better, PvP with the actual system. So I wanted to give a shot to this new game to pretty much do that, improve myself. As long as I can improve, learn, enjoy what I'm doing, I will keep trying. And obviously, like, we have something built in the previous game, PBO, and it was worth trying to keep between us, I guess.
Keyword trying.
But he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know, like, the people I met, got me to
Alright, sorry about
start
that.
playing games and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and eventually, I am still trying to learn the PvP and the mechanics and all that, but I know, like, I'm pretty much a casual part of the Pokemon, but back, even though the grind, like, old people was kind of hard, it, I never had hundreds, level hundreds, and stuff like that. But
No PBO player is a casual player.
no, I
If they finish the game, they're not casual at all.
Wait,
I-
did
I
Cujo
never-
finish
I
the
ne-
game?
Yeah, he did.
Probably
Yeah, he
he
did.
was
Yeah, he did.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Wait, you didn't finish PBO?
He didn't
I
finish
never-
Elite Four, I think.
Wait, really?
He did.
I did,
Yeah, I mean-
but I had help from Augusta and Master to Delquest, but I still beat it. I still can say it. I don't give a fuck. That was
Yeah,
hard
but
as shit.
Breloom. You use Breloom.
You
it
can eat
doesn't
my
count.
ass. I don't give a fuck. I still fucking beat it. Technicality, I beat that fucking Elite Four. I don't give a shit. Hate it or love it, man. The underdog's on top. But so you guys have elaborated. Well, mainly, I don't know if Delquest did, but you guys have elaborated what your appeal was to P1 when you guys came in at first, correct?
Nah, well, for me, I was just following you guys because I hated. I mean, knowing that it was made by the guy that made PRO, and I didn't like PRO, and I
Yeah.
don't like.
He's not shit
how should I
talking
say this?
Shane, FYI. He just didn't like the format. Okay, just saying. Elaborate.
I don't like Pokemon games that are just emulating the actual games. My main appeal for PBO and even PCO is that they had a custom region.
Yeah, so you like the difference, in something custom more than just the basics of Pokemon games in general, correct? Because throughout your life, you've always played the same shit, and so something new and appealing like that for you is what draws you into it, because it's not the same as going over like Kanto region over a million times, Johto region a million times. So you would prefer more of a custom region and a custom story and good dialogue, correct? And a
Yeah.
different stat system as well too, right? So yeah.
Stat system, it doesn't need to have a custom stat, to be honest.
no, but
It,
but the
It's a
other three that I
bonus.
labeled is what really draws you in.
but for PvP, it made it really fun because the meta was totally different than what I'm used to.
Yeah.
But there's difference between me and Shadow. I already knew how to play Pokemon, but he was learning, so
Oh,
way more
Shadow just
appealing.
got called a noob.
Oh,
That's
I
not what
literally said it myself.
But yeah, so you basically just followed me and Shadow at that time, correct?
Yep.
All right. So this
Me-
next part that we're gonna move on to is this is where the big one. This is where I've elaborated with hyping up Shadow for this meeting as well. A lot of people don't know this, and I don't know if Shadow's actually swept this under the rug for good reasons or not. I don't know, but when us three, when we first came into it, probably within maybe a couple weeks later, didn't they take it down for a couple days before I get to this? Didn't they take it down for a couple days to relaunch it? I think August 1st or something like that.
Yeah, because there
Yeah.
was the beta testing. We did one region only
Yeah.
because we didn't want to invest too much. And throughout the P1 PVO event, I think there was the release, and I was more
Yeah.
focused on P1 than the actual event at that point.
Yeah, I mean, because I think that's exactly when it decided to come out, was exactly then. Yeah, and PPO, I think I don't P1 was not the killer for PPO, just an FYI, but it was definitely
It was the last nail.
yeah, it was pretty much the last straw before the audience the audience just to start to discover P1, and even a PBO, PRO, PokeMMO, probably I guarantee it when P1 first came out, every Discord was talking about it in the Pokemon, MMO communities. Guarantee it. There was probably not a stone left unturned that didn't know about Poke1 coming out. And I mean, at the time, those was well too. I mean, in that time frame, 2018, the graphics, the way that it was set up, the future of the PvP ladders they talked about even back then, all the roadmap, we'll call it, of what they had planned for this fan-made MMO, that's what threw in the hype. You know what I mean? And the hype is still somewhat there, I would say. I don't know. I haven't, like I said, I just came back 2 weeks ago now, so I can't. This is where
there's content to keep you playing.
For now. We'll get into that in a bit. But so, back to the subject. So when it came back on August 1st, I think it was, me, Shadow, and Delquest, and as I said, a lot of people do not know this. I don't know if Shadow has elaborated it. But me, Shadow, and Delquest are the original ones who started Mystical Void. Right, Shadow? Delquest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure. We started on Mystical Void, and at that time, I don't think PvP was really a thing, was it? I don't really.
There was no ladder.
Yeah.
There were
Tournaments.
at most,
I don't know if there were yet.
Yeah.
There were some.
Were they just player ones, or were they actually official?
Yeah, like
The player
NH
one.
Ravens and stuff like
Well,
that.
that came down the road. that NH Raven was not right off the bat. It was more professor. Am I saying it right?
Professor.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
as well as Ownage Galore, because I mean Ownage Galore at that time was getting a lot of people coming in from P1 at that time, because he was one of the original beta testers, and same with Professor as well. And so at that time, I mean, their views on Twitch were just going up crazy, because hey, this is a brand new game. They've got to be a beta tester, at that time, so they were very well known. NH Raven didn't really come in until a little bit after, and that's where I would say, a lot, like, this is where, like, I'm not gonna elaborate on why or how it happened, but pretty much about, like, I'd say 3 months after me and Delquest broke off of Mystical Void, and including Cujo as well, and I would just say it was differences of views, right, Shadow?
I'm not gonna lie, I still don't know why it happened.
Well,
I don't remember.
I know it sounds stupid. That's what I know.
it was Me and Shadow
What
did
else
talk
is new?
about this. It was definitely it was definitely me and Shadow's fault. But it was, I'll say it's the differences of views and or opinions, you know, and which broke us off. And so unfortunately, and it led to, and you know, it affected Mystery of Voice community at the time because they were split into two, unfortunately. And we were, even then, we were growing to be quite a very well popular known guild. Actually, the old Mystery of Void logo actually looked a lot different than the Umbreon that Shadow uses nowadays. And I don't know if you guys remember it or not, but do you remember when Opal made the first original one with like it had
I
like
don't even
it
like
had,
a Pokeball, I think.
yeah,
or
it was a
something like that.
Pokeball, but it had like different elements. Do you remember the elements? It had different elements of like different natures inside of these Pokeballs going around of it. It was something that
Oh,
she
was
had
it?
found. Yeah,
We
yeah.
had so many different logos within 3 months or whatever. How long
Yeah,
it even lasted.
I'll take the blame for that.
Compared to those, what you guys are arguing about?
That was one of them. One of the
No, I
things.
didn't. I don't actually care about what logo we
Yeah,
use.
well, then we did because it was my fault because I kept choosing a different logo for the damn guild because I was the main creator of the guild. I always wanted to keep fucking changing it, and I was just like,
yeah, maybe, yeah.
yeah.
I don't actually care what the logo is.
I'm kind of
but
like,
I
I
just like to stick to something which stays more than 1 month.
I'm stubborn when it comes to finding the perfect logo. Even for my own streams, even for God's sakes, I'm still stubborn about it. I always want to rebrand. I just feel like things get outdated and whatnot. I get too caught up in it. That's a personal thing on me, and I do apologize for that. But
Yeah, it's all your fault.
yeah, for that, yeah. But yeah, the reason why there was a split though is just because me and Shadow had differences of opinions, and that at that time is when we decided to make Bullet Club. And unfortunately, Bullet Club in that time frame was made in the wrong intentions because it was more or less a me and Shadow thing, where it was kind of funny. It's because I was, you know, oh yeah, you think you could do this better without me? Well, I can go make my own thing. And yeah, Bullet Club and Mystery Void throughout some period of time was definitely not at a good standing. And it sucked because we put a lot of our friends in the middle of this, and obviously, you know, and I know me and Shadow just elaborated this not too long ago too, that, you know, we feel bad that we caught so many people in our webs of me and Shadow's bullshit that unfortunately, yeah, Delquest, Cujo, Cashew, I mean a lot of the OGs of Mystery Void. I do apologize from my end as well.
No regrets.
Shut up, Shadow.
Finn Balor, you know, Mr. Wixler wants to be Finn Balor, whatever.
Right. Tell Vixel he's taking the piss. Yeah, Bullet Club was actually a name that a lot of people don't know where it came from. If they don't follow wrestling, it came from a wrestling name. I just couldn't think of anything at the time, and I thought, hey, this looks cool. You know, I didn't feel like I wanted to give up with my thing after Mystery Void. I wanted to. It was kind of like I wanted to show Shadow that, you know, I could still do this, unfortunately, in the way it was back then. But the thing was, though, too, is that, like, even after me and Shadow had our little differences or whatever, Bullet Club back then just blew up because we decided to, this is where NH Raven was coming around. He was around a little bit before then, too, but he was starting to host those tournaments. And I remember Cashew would be at Delquest, I think, always watching them on YouTube or Twitch, wasn't it? Twitch, right? And we were like, you know what? We should throw our names into the hat. And I know Delquest loved PvPing, and Cashew at the time, he was loving, you know, the fact of watching and learning from Delquest to how to do the PvP, and he wanted to invest in that as well too. So that's where Bullet Club started to go in there. And, you know, NH Raven started, you know, noticing us more. Then he was just like, well, why don't you guys just start hosting tournaments with us? We'd come up with prize cash money and whatnot and give out that to the second, first, and third player, right? I don't remember the amount. I think there was one time we had like $1 million or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, joke's on you. I won that.
Yeah, see, there you go. Yeah, a Mystery Void at the time won the Bullet Club's $1 million fucking money. Yeah.
Karma.
Yep, definitely was. It was just like, no, I remember that too. I remember that. I was like, no shit, Shadow fucking won this. You gotta be kidding me. But
That was the biggest tournament of the time as well. It
yeah, I think so.
was like a Christmas one, I think.
Yeah, it was around then. Yeah, and that was actually quite a popular one as well too. And not shortly after, though. I mean, this is where it comes into back to you again. Is that after Bullet Club dried out, there was just not so much content in that time anymore. Because let's be real, I did 1,000 fucking alts at that time because all there was just Johto, Kento, and a few bosses in that time frame. So burnt the fuck out in that time of playing P1, and Bullet Club disbanded. I believe Delquest, Cashew, Cujo, whoever else, WB, whoever else was there, they all came back into Mystery Void. So what did after that whole tender of Bullet Club finally fading, as you say, bullshit club, as it finally faded, where did you lead Mystery Void, and what was the thing that kept Mystery Void strong and going to where it is today? Shadow.
I mean, after not even after, like when I was PvPing, had made a name for myself already. We had a good core amount of members playing.
I guess
So we are still
Hello.
no, not Fixerots. Like
Yeah, but
Fixer
Mr.
had
Rick has a
already.
comment for Emerald. Don't forget Kenny Omega and Andrade and Triple NU.
Cujo, I'm just gonna remind you that when someone's talking, let them talk first, and then the comments could come in right after, please. Thank you. Go ahead, Shadow.
So we had a good core of members in our guild already, and it was mostly Germans. We rebuilt. Took a while to do that. We lost a lot of members as well when ladder came up because people prefer money over loyalty or whatever you want to call it.
Wait, you lost members because of the PvP ladder?
Yeah, as soon as
Why?
ladder got out, people, because first place gets freaking twice or triple the amount of cash any other guild makes. And this thing is still happening until this day. We basically call them a swarm guild now. Like 100 people join the number one guild.
Right.
They do 10 games each or whatever, and they have guaranteed hundreds of thousands of cash as a reward, even if you only win once.
What the hell?
And shit like that.
That's a real thing.
Like, yeah, the ladder is
Huh.
flawed, which is one of the main reasons why I don't enjoy the game anymore. Anyway, like,
Alright.
going back to the point, the guild rebuilt had pretty much completely different background, no more VO players, while Bullet Club was around. And then we just kept getting stronger and stronger. Like, people come, people go, we just move on from there.
Yeah. So are you guys to this day, we'll kind of jump into this day, are you guys known as a PvP guild, or are you both like PvP, PvE guild? Are you open to both?
We are open to both, but we're more focused on, like, the players you have right now are more into shiny hunting, pretty much.
So
We do have some PvPers who still make the top.
What would you
7, top 6
classify?
guilds.
What would you classify Mystery Void then now? What would you classify? What would it be under? If you were to do an advertisement, what would you classify it under?
It's a mixed guild. Like, we do everything. Everyone's free to do or spend his time how he wishes. There's no restrictions on what to do. Like, you're not forced to PvP 50 games a month or whatever. Have nothing. As long as you're active and around, you can join us.
Oh yeah. All right. So yeah, guys, if you need to get in contact with ShadowIX, just look him up in Poke1 Discord, and Mystery Void, I do believe, is still recruiting as well too, right? Always.
Yeah, I guess so.
yeah.
I mean, at this point, it's better to speak with Meliodas, which is
The moderator there.
community moderator,
Yeah,
or
okay.
like something below game master, just one role below.
Okay.
Because he's pretty much handling P1 now for our guild.
Right on. Right on. So you guys have it. If you guys are interested, you guys obviously know you're more than welcome to check them out. But so here's my question though, right? So what was it that's kind of okay? When you were done with so Mr. Void built up, right?
Yeah.
It became the guild that it's known today. It's established, very well known. It's been around since obviously 2018 when us three started it. So what inspired you? Because I'm kind of following your journey here. What inspired you? Because I know you did both at the same time. This is what I'm going to get at. But what inspired you to want to go back to PBO 2.0 and still play there, as well as still play in Poke 1? Do you feel like this has had some ripple effect on you as well for, as I wanted to get to later, feeling burnt out of the MMOs as well too? You feel like you've put too much time and effort into these games as well, where it's become repetitive?
Like, unlike you and most players, I never really took a break from P1
Yeah.
for a really long time. Like, I pretty much played it 2 years,
Yeah, you did.
almost
Yeah.
solely playing P1. Like, that was my main game. I was just PvPing over and over, joining tournaments. I was pretty much around all the time. And since Corona hit, pretty much,
Yeah.
I just realized that this game, while it is still going forward, it has its issues which we knew about them like for a year or something.
Yeah.
I didn't really pay attention because I still had like that hope that they can turn it around.
Yeah.
But now more than ever, it seems like it is not likely that they will. They can do it still. They can turn it around, but I don't think they're going to anytime soon.
What is it that you
Which
want them to turn
is
around? What is it exactly they're looking for from them?
rework of the ladder, because the way they reward the players is complete bullshit.
Right.
Like I can win 20 games in a row, and I get just the same cash as the first guy which is in the first guild and done 1/8 of my effort. Like, not even the same results. If he wins twice, they get as much money as me. Their cash is guaranteed. Mine is based on skill, and it's not even guaranteed because I'm competing for it. They're just guaranteed. That's the first major change I want.
So it seems like there's an uneven, balance in that then, because yeah, okay, I'm getting what you're saying. So you're saying like they shouldn't be getting rewarded like that, right? Is that what you're?
Yeah, like it should be balanced between. It needs to be flattened out a bit more. Not the first guild gets majority while the rest gets almost nothing compared to them. Even though we're doing the same effort or like more effort, better results than them, we just don't have the players to back it up as much as them, so we get rewarded less.
Yeah, yeah. So that is one of your biggest cons currently right now. Is there any other cons that you have?
There's a lot more.
List it all out, man, dude.
So the second major issue is that one of their developers is pretty much MIA for the longest time. He shows up for 5 minutes and disappears again.
Oof. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, everyone, whoever plays P1 knows what I'm talking about. Like, the game's progress, not content-wise, like quality of life and features, is struggling because this guy isn't around for a year and a half now, more or less, if not even longer, and doesn't seem like he will be around anytime soon. Content is still being released, mainly thanks to Rusty. So the game will still keep going on, but I have no motivation to play a game where like just getting a new story to beat isn't appealing to me. I need something new. Like and I need a new feature, not even new months. New months will only lure me in for a few months now, at best, because I'm tired of this game.
Right. Right. So pretty much though, like it, I get where you're coming from, but at the end of the day, though, too, I'm not defending, the situation. I'm just looking at it from a standpoint, for the developer. I mean, at the end of the day, though, these guys, this is a fan-made game. This is not a legit game. So I mean, these guys got like IRL life that they got to deal with. You know what I mean? And I get that concept.
Yeah.
I don't understand though, why they wouldn't hire or maybe get another developer. But again, this brings me way back to the PBO conversation of, that's their baby. It's gonna be hard for anybody to trust them. And considering the rumors, and like I said, I just came back 2 weeks ago. Um, the rumors were that they were getting DDoSed by someone from China or Japan or something like
For
that.
a while, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
So
a few months back.
I
yes.
completely, as to me, that's just rumors. I wasn't really a part of it. The community, I didn't know what was going on. So if I can understand where they're coming from then too, because if these guys are facing, these kind of attacks and whatnot, letting somebody in their team that they really don't know, it's gonna take a lot of trust for anybody to really get inside. I'm pretty sure they're on a VPS. I'm pretty sure. I would presume at least, a VPS. So to let anybody on their box to work and stuff like that, that's a pretty big trust element. So I can understand why they, the main developer that's helping them out right now, they don't want anybody else touching it, and could be a conflict as well too, because if he's previously doing work or something, someone else comes in and screws everything up, or might put a back door, take all the work, and go start off another one of these. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot of work. I mean, I understand it. It's a two-way street, right? And that's exactly how I'm seeing it. The community wants that developer to put more things in, but there's also the other side of it as well too, where these guys have families and IRL things going on. They can't be here 24/7. They can't babysit the community. You know what I mean? But in the same sense, though, too, the community is saying, well, you're the one that made us, so why are you not here for us and whatnot, or why are you not delivering more? I mean, like I said, again, it's a two-way street, so that it's like you're tugging back and forth, and so this is why you get these thoughts and these rumors being spread around and whatnot about the game's future or whatnot, and if everybody has their thoughts and opinions about it. So I mean, yeah, like I said, I get that, man. I get that. I get where you're coming from, because you put it, just like a lot of the OGs in this game have put so much time and effort into it, and now you're feeling like you're not really getting delivered the content that you had once maybe possibly thought were promised or had been promised. Is this correct for you?
Yeah. Allegedly, they had started working on it already, but this was mentioned to us almost 2 years ago by now. So, I mean, I understand people have their lives they need to handle, but if you cannot do anything in almost 2 years, then something needs to be changed, or you're just gonna fall behind. Like,
Yeah.
the first chance I had to try something which can potentially be better, not that I had too much faith in it, but there's always the potential. I gave it a shot right away without thinking twice.
Right. Do you think that maybe some of this, what you may feel, I feel like I'm not trying to be a therapy to you, but do you think that some of this you may feel kind of the resentment towards, their dev could be also coming from PBL's letdown as well too, because they said the exact same thing to you as well, or made you believe as well? So you going into another game again, being let down by a certain individual?
Yeah, but the difference is that, like, I can mention a lot of bad things about P1, but in the end, if I have to pick a game, I will always go back to it. Like, it has so much more like, as a dev team, they're way more
advanced
were
than any
better
more.
than any other game I
Yeah,
played so
yeah,
far.
yeah.
Pokemon MMO wise, I didn't play that much, but the other devs I will mention, for example, Rusty. Um, they do a lot for the game, and
Mhm.
it is, in my opinion, the only reason why P1 is still pretty much up, because there's Rusty, which is constantly working on the game. There's still a few more devs which are still working on the game and helping with the content, like Shane and Wallaby, for example. I don't know exactly who in the background is working. I just know that there's that one person that is missing. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, so it's like for you, it's like the key element to it all, like the headstone to the dev team.
Yes,
Yeah.
because the features I want to be implemented, which is why I would be playing other games over this game, can only be done through this developer. So he's holding the game back from making this game an actual MMO, in my opinion.
You don't think
Because
someone
right
else could
now,
pick up the pieces where he left off at though? You really don't. You don't think that they could?
no, like, they are capable of doing it. They just don't have the access to do it, from what I can tell.
I mean, yeah, it's like I said, it's definitely a two-way street, you know. And I bet you know, if they were watching or if they're tuning in or see this VOD as well too, I'm pretty sure that they probably would agree on, yeah, this is definitely a two-way street. I bet you a lot of the community as well agrees with you on this fact as well too, from playing as long as you have. You like you said,
Yes,
you have not taken
most
a
of
break.
them have quit.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, there's obvious reasons for their departure and whatnot, and I mean, there's obvious reasons why the main developer as well too. And personal IRL issues and stuff like that, and working a real job, and there could be many things, many factors into the not being around as much as he may have used to been before. Stuff like that. Like that's something that I really don't. You can't really control nor say or why or anything like that, because it's truly at the end of the day none of our business, as long as they're still delivering the game at least in some kind of pace and form. But for guys like OGs like you to have stuck around for as long as you have, you're wanting more content delivered, or you feel like it's a little bit owed to you for being there and putting as much time as you have as well as they have, right? So it's more or less your loyalty to the game, and it feels like you're not getting some of that loyalty in return, correct?
To a certain point, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, besides the dev that is missing for I don't know how long. There's still one more thing which both games suffer from.
What's that?
Is like, we have no idea what's happening in the background most of the time.
This is
And
true. This is
like,
true.
we don't.
This is like any MMO, for mainly all MMOs, not even just Pokemon in general. Like some MMOs out there will let you. There are some that will elaborate on, what they're planning on doing and what could be coming in the future. They don't always deliver though. That's a common thing.
Yeah, but
Delays,
like,
really
the
delays.
major, like, I don't care about time frames. They can delay by 6 months, whatever. I don't care about those things. As long as they come, I don't mind. If they're working on updates, that's all I can ask for. I don't care how long they take. The problem is we don't know what's coming for a really long time.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, with P1, when they announce something, a lot of rumors go around that of a coming soon TM, for example. And then it took like 8 months since I heard that. And
Yeah.
apparently the devs never said it's coming soon. It's just a rumor which puts the game under, like, I don't know how to explain it.
A hype.
Like
It just
like
hypes the
the
game to
hype
keep
gets
the.
lost because it's delayed. We have no feedback, etc.
Yeah.
And if they give like updates what's happening, it would be way better than having nothing. And this is something both games struggle with.
Yeah, that I agree that it's I don't know, like with these fan made ones, I don't know like how much they want to elaborate because they're afraid of their the work being taken, too, or I don't know. That's like that itself is like a gray area because I could even
Yeah,
even
the
understand
main
that
problem
either.
is like they have said, for example, like I can understand why they don't do it. Like they have mentioned two things. They will release Auction House.
Yeah,
They're working on it, they said, and they will rework the ladder. Those are the first two features they will be working on. And like we're 2 years in, and we don't even think they have started yet.
yeah. This game has been out for what? How many years now? Has it been 3?
What?
18,
Sorry?
19, 20, 21. This game's been out for 4 years, has it not? The 4 or 5?
Since 2018,
Yeah, so
like
18, 19, 20,
three years,
21.
right?
4
Three,
years.
4.
Yeah, 4 years. 4 years. I think it'd be 4 years this actually I think it's already been 4 years cuz it's what it was out August 1st. Yeah, it's been 4 years. Yeah. It was 4
Yeah.
years on this
I
Sunday.
so I pretty much did like 3 years on
Yeah,
it, two
yeah.
years and a half, and now I kind of
You burnt yourself out, man. You burnt yourself
I
out.
slowed down on it, and I pretty much replaced it with something else.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, you pretty much burnt yourself out. Is pretty much at this point. You put someone the time that you were in here, I moved into 5M, and I was doing all that, and you still stayed in P1, pretty strong as well too. Pokemon in general, you still played. You're pretty strong.
Yeah, I
into
was
it.
joining draft leagues as well.
Yeah.
Pretty much, and I was playing the official game. Like when was it? 1 year ago, the release.
The Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
Two, two
Was-
years.
2 years ago.
Was it
So,
really
yeah, I
2
was
years
playing.
ago? Seriously?
Yeah, because they released the
fuck.
DLCs as well.
Yeah, I got. I still gotta fucking play that. That's if I could ever get my fucking Switch back from Opal. Turner Animal Crossing.
And there's
Anyways.
still the new games coming out this November and January, but yeah.
Oh yeah. What is the new ones coming out? By the way, what are they called again?
Training Diamond,
Diamond
Brilliant Diamond and Training Pearl, but yeah.
and Legend of Arceus a bit later in January, I think, or first
January
quarter.
28th. January 28th. Wait,
1 second here. I just got a message. So yeah, so I can still type in to say this, but so what made you Shadow? So you just talked about all P1 and whatnot. Is there anything else that you would like to elaborate about P1 that before I get to this next subject, because we're gonna kind of revisit home 2.0. What is there anything else that you would like to elaborate? Maybe tell Shane, Rusty, or the development team, whatever it may be. What would you like to see from this game? Going into the future.
I mean, I'm still working with the P1 devs to help them in some stuff. Like me, Meliodas, and a group of, let's say, 10 more people. We're basically a group that the devs are speaking with to see what they can do next to the game to
Yeah.
keep it interesting. So I'm still around to helping. But personally, for me, I don't mind helping to see it improve because once I return, I will find stuff I want in the game pretty much.
Yeah.
But for me to actually return and make it my main game again for, like, let's say a good year, I need, first of all, Shanatos to return or his work to be replaced by someone else and release some kind of crew wars feature, something where it makes the game an actual MMO, because I don't care about beating the story with my friends. I can do it on my own. So it's pretty much a single player, this game, with the potential to PvP for myself. For others, you can do shiny hunts with your friends, etc. I'm not really interested in that stuff. I want something for PvP which can be done as a guild. Give me a reason to have a guild in this game.
Yeah,
Besides
I
getting
agree
the
with you on that.
Jirachi.
Yeah. I mean, I remember back when we first all started too that there was talks that they were going to maybe think about doing something like that. I don't know whatever happened to that, but I remember that there was talks about that because I think even me, you, and Delquest and a couple others had brought that up in their general a while back, and I think it was Rusty, Xanis, or Shane, one of them. They addressed that and they said that there was something they might look into in the future. I don't know if there's anything ever been talked or said about it since then, but
I have discussed it with them multiple times, even recently-ish. And by that I mean, let's say, 4 months ago. Besides that, I have also recommended some kind of dungeon we can do together or something like that. Give the game an MMO feel, because right now, none of the Pokemon MMOs are pretty much MMOs. They're just... PBO has some kind of MMO element with its Crew Wars, but it's not... Like, it's a fun mode, but it's not what it's supposed to be for a Pokemon game.
yeah, right. So what about this as well too? And I've heard this from I've seen this in the community as well. There were an auction house, a trade house. What do you feel about that?
Or which game? P1?
P1, yeah.
I mean, having it won't hurt anyone, but I can survive without it, honestly.
Do you think it would help a little bit though with
It will help with not scamming players, because
Yeah.
there will be kind of an estimated price for
and the
almost
spam
everything.
in the fucking general chats and stuff like that as well too?
I don't really pay attention. My chats are always
Oh, it's horrible.
minimized pretty
It's
much.
horrible. It's hard to as a player to keep track. Even with the trade tab, it's very very disorganized. It's very very hard.
Yeah,
And
you can filter it out as you please, though.
Yeah, it
Like-
just it fades though as well too when you want to scroll up and think, oh hey, I missed something here, you know, so I'm gonna scroll up and it'll fade out to a certain degree, and so having a trade house I think would be a very big beneficial, for the aspect of trading and as you said scams as well too and whatnot. So and
Yeah,
kind of like how
it would-
or PBO did
Yeah.
it, where it direct deposits the Pokemon either into the party or into the player. The money gets deposited into the player's pocket, whatever it may be, something like that. So I think that that'd be a cool feature that they would add. It would definitely help a little
I
bit.
think they're still working on it right now. I don't know if they actually... They have something like a prototype of it, but I don't know.
Do they? Is that like
If
something
they-
they've been working on then? Yeah.
I don't know if it's their work. I don't know if they're working on it or they worked on it, but then it was dropped because of the dev being away potentially. I don't know.
Now
It's
this might be
either
a
or,
little
but-
far out too, but I always thought maybe something like what PBO had though too was having like a bank, something to store your money in as well too, just to save up a savings or something like that. That's just that's just me, but I seen how it worked a little bit in PBO and it was actually quite used a lot as well too. But that's
I
just-
mean, in
that's-
P1 you
that's
don't
not a
lose cash when you
necessary-
die, though, right?
I don't know. No, not
In
P1.
P1
no,
you don't lose
no,
cash,
no,
so you
no.
don't actually need bank. In PBO you lost like
Yeah.
10% or
Yeah,
something,
that's
so
true.
that makes
Yeah.
sense to deposit.
And PBO also too. I do like that one thing about PBO is that you get money from the wild battles. Like even if it's 1 or 2 or something like that, it still helps. But you gotta have buffers and rare. But this is its own game as well too. This should not be anywhere near anything like any other game as well, in an aspect of its own, because it is its own genre for its own MMO, and it's not copying every other one except for storyline wise, which I think Dell could agree on that. But they've got their own elements that some other MMOs do not have as well too, right? So this Poke
But
1 is still
mostly.
Poke 1 separates itself from others as well. And I mean
When did
that
it-
says a lot though too, because you got Pokemon Revolution that has been out there for since 2015, I believe, and Shane was in fact the owner, if not one of the main developers for it. And then you also have Poke MMO that has been out for I think even like it's 2014.
It's
13?
out for pretty long.
Yeah.
The good part about P1 is that it's the best looking game out of every
Yep.
other MMO right
yeah.
now.
More kept up
It
with the times.
is
Yeah.
pretty like the basics of the game are all pretty much working as intended, unlike other games.
Yeah, they use
Um,
Unreal Engine on Pokemon. That's how this thing was built, which is pretty
yeah,
unique.
but yeah, the fact they keep they have the battle system working really well, like abilities, moves.
Yeah.
You don't get to complain a lot about bugs.
No.
They
Yeah,
do
I've never really encountered a bug. Only at the time when we first us three started out.
I know of a few. I know of a few, but they're not
Not game
like
breakers.
that. Not game breakers because they're not released yet
Yeah.
per se.
Yeah.
And I think there are some which are released, but it's really minimal. They have like best looking, best functioning game. What they're lacking is taking that game like one level ahead, like step it up a bit with new features. That's what they're lacking in.
Yeah.
They only have the best of the basics, but they have nothing out of this world besides the party system. They don't have anything unique anymore.
Yeah, there's really because you never know what's next. And this is the thing about Pokemon MMOs that a lot of people don't understand is what's next. Because when we know, and this is the history, as I always say, history repeats itself. There's always the next uprising for the next fan-made Pokemon MMO. What's to say that the next one is something like this, but also adds in some of these elements that you've been talking. So then this kind of gets left in the dust because the next one will have more elements where this one may have failed to attract those elements, right? So and this is the case. When one falls as well too, another one rises, right? So that's usually the way these MMOs have always worked. So who's to say within maybe next year or three, another one rises up above this one again, and it completes that what you have been talking about for this, and then Poke One it missed the boat, missed their opportunity because they had that moment in the time, and then they just failed to capitalize on it. So I mean, I definitely I get what you're saying.
Time. Yeah, they're still in time of doing it because
Yeah.
I cannot imagine any new game which has the same quality of this game, like appearance-wise, functionalities, and everything working properly. I cannot see any game coming in which will challenge it for the near future. So they're still in time.
Yeah, this game was in development like probably about 3 or 4 years prior to even being its release, right? Because there's so much damn work that's on here that I guarantee behind the scenes, like this has probably been a project that was started out on a basic computer that just led into an actual DPS and just went from there, right? So I mean, this project has been worked on for many years. And then they finally release.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but that's the thing, though. That's what I'm saying right now. How do you know that there's not one right now that's been lurking, just like P1 had, and it'll eventually, And there's a lot of developers in this world, as well as I do, that can pull off some amazing things, So.
Yeah, like it's more than my fear is, and it shouldn't be my fear. It should be the developer's fear. Is that if there's an actual game which can actually compete with P1, like most importantly visually and the amount of bugs the game has.
Yep.
Then people will dip without thinking twice.
Oh yeah,
if they plan.
Yeah. You would have another PBO situation where if something else is better and more appealing, and if they actually, the number one thing that any of these games should always learn is always have the PvP ladder system worked and properly working, obviously. If that is the case for once in a rarity that we've been on here for I don't know how long we're doing these MMOs, then yeah, any other MMO can be swept, fan made ones by these. That could be a really big problem. So yeah, as a developer, you would want to be kind of worried about this kind of a situation as well. But in the same sense, so too, you would want to welcome it as well too, because you don't want
Yeah,
a developer to a developer, man, be like, hey man, you guys are doing great, you're doing amazing, but for your own product to see someone else kind of replace your product, it's kind of like a stab in the heart because you put so much time and effort into this, and then you see someone else just came out and just swept you right underneath the rug. And it happens. It happens all the time.
Like,
I
say,
mean,
like,
it will happen for sure. But
It will, yeah, it will. But right now is what I'm saying is P1's in its prime, and I think you're agreeing with me on that too. If it's in its prime, then capitalize on what you have in your prime. Make it where this will stand out and flourish throughout the time. And so when this next big beast decides to come out, a lot of people thought Pokemon Blaze Online, the new one, was going to be the next big beast, and well, most of us could tell you that was definitely not the case because we, as even the OG players of PBO, knew that was not going to happen.
yeah,
But that
and you can
itself, though,
jump into that topic as well.
yeah. So that itself, though, as well, though, too, it also says something about P1, though. I just want to elaborate on this, that when PBO was coming out, whatnot, I wonder if, if Rusty and them kind of all had, like, the idea, well, what is this shit?
Oh, they played it out. They played it.
Did they? Did they? Yeah.
Yeah, and they even helped Snakes a bit
Really?
because he was getting DDoS, so they helped him out a bit. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I think I remember actually hearing about that. Yeah. Which I can
mean-
totally understand. But, yeah, give me 1 second. I'm just going to grab some real quick. Cujo, elaborate on what you want to say.
I mean, what's all about like Pokemon, MMOs. They're eventually, Nintendo or Pokemon Company could decide to make their own like MMO or whatever, and like Pokemon Unite's not like the next big thing, but it's official. But even though that has like pay to win aspects and all that stuff, like Pokemon, I don't know. So like,
Yeah, but you can't compare Unite with an MMO because it's a MOBA, first of all. So
yeah, like
then the P2Win aspect is completely something different, which doesn't matter. And if they do an MMO, I don't know if they can pull it off, but will they meet what an actual MMO is? Because I don't know. Like, making spawn rates hard doesn't make your game an MMO. You need like dungeons, fucking
Well, I needed to smoke
stuff
with this.
like crew wars and stuff like that.
or you could like pull like Pokemon like
Like, besides catching Pokemon and their rates, you need features which makes the game an MMO. Like running around with your friends and you cannot battle with them, like as in together against someone else, is already pointless. So if they actually make an official one, they better think about all this.
So what are we elaborating on? Sorry about that. I just had to go grab a smoke. We've been doing this for a little bit longer than I thought we were gonna.
Yeah, in fact, I
But,
have like
So what
15, 20 minutes left
what you do?
available. Yeah, I need to kind of wrap it up soon.
Okay. So what was I'll just go for the VOD later. What was your main? Okay, because I know that this will kind of like put the cap on this whole thing. So we started out because mainly this is what the PBO is kind of like the main subject almost, other than P1.
Okay.
What made you go back to PBO when you knew that was coming out? What made you do it? And kind of just short it down since you got a little bit of time, but try to elaborate as much as you can too.
Yeah. So first of all, prior to the release, like few months earlier, we were being shown what's coming in,
Yeah.
what's different in this game,
Yeah.
and it seems like they have put effort into it that might make it worthwhile trying again.
Yeah.
Prior to the release, I actually tested the game.
Yeah.
Granted, it had its own issues still, but I could see an improvement in the game.
Right.
So, if I can see an improvement in a game, I was willing to give it a shot because you may never know. They might, within 4 months, they will pick it up and polish it and make it an actual decent competitor, it will make the game worthwhile playing. And I didn't want to start the game
Yeah.
with a 3-month disadvantage. I wanted to start it right away. So if it will pop off, I will be a part of it. I won't fall behind. I will be right on top right away.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what was your biggest letdown for this new PBO 2.0?
Hmm.
And Shadow,
Well,
speak your mind.
yeah.
Go ahead.
First
your
of
mind.
all was the pretty much the lies behind it. Like we were promised a lot of stuff was fixed, changed, and taken care of.
Yeah.
These things could not be tested prior because when we tried to test it, they expected us to grind the stuff and test them like that. And I don't plan to grind something for 20 hours just so I can test it. You either provide me with the resources or I
Mhm.
won't test it for you. But we were under the assumption from both the dev and the moderator team that these changes, like these major issues we had in the first version, were taken care of,
Yeah.
such as broken moves, abilities. That's pretty much is it. Like they did a lot of improvement, I give them that, but the game was still miles
Broken,
behind.
very much broken, and so this is what me and you even had elaborated a little bit previous to the stream, is that he fell to the temptation from the Discord for asking him to release the game, and the game was nowhere near ready to be released. The bugs, obviously, the abilities, the moves, the items, they were still not properly fixed, and he had said that they were, and they were not. And so, we're pretty much right back into PBO 1.0 again, but only this time, UI is a little bit changed, not really much. UI was that's a whole other subject, but I'll definitely say a lot of the major complaints though was the UI. A lot of people did not like the fast battle movements. That was another thing that threw off people as well too. There's a little things, but the main thing to make the
Who said
Pokemon.
that?
A lot of people.
What's better is there weren't that many. Actually, it was people praised it more than
Mhm.
complained about the fast battles in the first version, at least. In the second version, there was a lot of complaints because
It comes
were
down
used
to it though.
P1.
It's like a two-way street. Honestly, it is. Like there's a lot of people who always find anything that they can complain about, and whatever else. But I mean, that was just one of the little things. But the main things that a Pokemon MMO needs is to have these abilities, these moves, and these items coded in, or else you throwing in these Pokemon and the stuff doesn't work for them, then you're really getting like a dud. These Pokemon, you really can't do anything with them. You can't use them for the PvP. You can't build them the certain way that you want to because of the moves and the ability or the item is broken.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you take a broken Pokemon? By example, the old PBO meme, Coister. That Coister literally broke the game, and it broke the game so bad in PBO version 1 that he had to rip him out because that Coister was so fucking broken.
Yeah, but that's because of
the stat building on it. Yeah.
like custom SP system, lack of game design, as in game balancing, which is another thing which I can like. The current version is struggling with. They again release the game with stupid shit like Volcarona available, logged behind an event, and gives unfair advantages to everyone. And I don't understand how they allow such mons to be released so soon. Another thing is they have their moderation team is the main reason why I will not play this game for the near future. Like, you can help as much as you want, you can write as many guides as you want. I don't freaking care. Like, if you don't realize the game is not like if the game doesn't if you don't realize the game has problems, then you're not doing your freaking job. You cannot say the game is doing fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Second
Exactly.
region will pick it up because
Second region.
second region will bring the players back, but it will not keep them because these shits will not change. You need to step the game up.
Exactly. Like
and
you
make
need to focus on the main one first before you even ever decide to release a second region. There should never ever be a second region. It doesn't matter if the players are getting bored, whatever else, because that was your fault for releasing the game in the state of decay that it is now. And you can take these people on the journey of, because a lot of people like watching construction. They like watching, it build from a little house to a fucking a tower. You know what I mean? They love watching the construction. But the problem is during that construction is the chaos and unable to play inside of that game. It just becomes another mess. And no matter how much you try to sugarcoat it, or you try to say that it will be better, it'll be fine, and everything else like that, you're blinding yourself to the fact of the game was just never really made to be released yet. And here he had 3 years to work on this, and he had said and stated that a lot of the stuff that was broken from the first one, it's all fixed in the new one. Gets released, and sure enough, it was all a lie. That's what it was. It was just sold, overhyped, released, and it just was not prepared, to be out and to have the community come in the way it did. Like the first, let's be real here, right? The first day when PBO relaunched, how many players did that have? Like over 1,000, right? Right?
It peaked at 1K more or less. Yeah. 1,000, 1,200, something like that.
Yeah, and then now, and I'll say like during the main times as well too, you're getting to 100, maybe 200 people, right? Because they and the community has complained. They have brought up their opinions, their views, and I mean you as well. And then you get shut down. You get shut out. You get told to go in a certain place and everything else like that. It never gets viewed. It never gets looked at. The mods will sit there and pretend like everything's fine, that it's great, and it's just you're just making these things up, you're just being negative. But meanwhile, you are a community member that's bringing up awareness to what you, even as a developer, have seen the mistakes, and you as an OG player have seen again the mistakes that are just being repeated again. And it was never, like I said, it was just never fully prepared to be released. And he released it because of the hype, because he knew that he could attract all these players to come into the game, but it didn't manage. It fell. It's fallen. And now, for me personally, from my experience seeing it, and it's not a pay to win, okay, I know that now, but he's selling off the cosmetics in the game now. He's always advertising more the battle passes available. He's advertising these new mounts that are coming in and all this other stuff. Like, you're working on more of the cosmetics than you are the mechanics of the actual game, and it's showing that more your focus is driven into more of the cosmetics, so people will buy this from you, and to say that, is it going back into the game? Probably not, because there's no real reassurance.
The main problem is, like, this game has terrible rates to catch something. First of all, some months only spawn, like, let's say once a week, which are relying on either an item to buy from the real currency, like real money currency shop.
Yeah,
I think there's some alternatives, but it's not as easy to get. And they last for 1 hour, and they can pop up 4 a.m. you're working, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
So there's kind of this exclusivity of mods, which isn't that bad. Like, I don't mind having them. Like, eventually I will get my chance. But having all this broken stuff, like the rarity is beyond stupid. Like there's nothing on the auction worth buying. If it's worth buying, there's literally one person paying like 50 euros in cosmetics just to buy it from you for a simple one Pokemon. Like he's buying a Garchomp, he's willing to invest 40 euros in it or something like that. Like it's just a one-man game. Like your whales are benefiting from the game. You're benefiting, as in your pockets are. The other casual or semi-hardcore players are not getting anything. The hardcore players are struggling as well.
Yeah, and I've
Plus-
seen that in their Discord too. Yeah, they definitely are. And every time they speak up, they get shut down. And now I know that we can both agree on this. The moderators are very immature and are kind of like children, and they don't allow you to speak. They redirect you to somewhere else, and you know that they mistreated you as well. Do you want to kind of elaborate a little bit on the treatment you've gotten from them as well?
Oh, I mean, that's just like Discord moderating bullshit. Like, they expect me to change the chat every 3 lines I say because I'm going. Because if we're speaking in general chat, for example,
Yeah.
and we're discussing something, if it turns into a discussion, they expect me to jump back to discussion, and then I jump back to general when I speak about slightly off topic from the topic. And
Yeah.
if I'm speaking with someone, I will stay in the same chat. I don't care. If you want, take a point of my topic and write a suggestion yourself.
Yeah.
I don't care.
It just seems like, you know, it just seems like they just really want to bat an eye to what they know is broken, but they're loyal. And I get that. You're loyal to something. You got a heart for it, you know. I get it. You want to defend the product as well, and you know, you want to impress the
Yeah,
owner
but-
as well too, but you got to realize at the end of the day, when the majority of your community is telling you something and you're sitting there and flat out saying they're either lying or to ignore it, then you're not really building a community. You're building more of a cult. And that itself is what closes these kind of games, because then you're only advertising to a small audience. You're not advertising to you're not advertising to the bigger picture, you know? You're only looking at the smaller picture and you're shutting out the bigger picture, which really paints a very, very thin fine line for the future of that game. And I could be real as hell and tell you this. I do not see Pokemon Blaze lasting very much longer in the future at all.
Yeah, me neither.
They had their chance. They had their first chance already at the first one. Closed it down, lost majority of the community. You got your second chance. And now your second chance, you have pretty much squandered that. It is you've wasted it. And I'm sorry to say it like that, but that is the real facts of that reality for that game. It's been wasted. The only thing again that is keeping that game alive, is Crew Wars. A little bit of the Dynamax raids, and maybe the fishing tournaments, which is based on pure luck. A lot of people do not like that. I mean, but the main aspect to that game again that's keeping it alive, it is Crew Wars. There's nothing really else other to that game to keep the community going, because other than that, you're just doing what I'm doing right here. You're just going back and forth constantly with no hidden, like there's no hidden agenda. There's nothing left to it. And in saying that you're going to put in another region is still not going to do it, because it's like what you stated before. It would only keep people interested for 1 or 2 months, and then they're gone again, and you're still having the same broken mess. So you're going around in circles. Naturally.
For either game, content isn't what keeps player around. It's more like the new features they bring in.
And the thing that I don't like about Pokemon Blaze Online, though, is I've elaborated this actually in my first podcast, is that the fact that he can go inside your computer to see exactly what you're running. He can see your folders, he can see your files, he can see exactly what programs you're running in your task manager, and that is actually very illegal, and you have no consent to do so. So when you're going into Pokemon Blaze Online, keep in mind that he, or if he had passed this on to his moderation team, have that access to go inside your computer, and that is very illegal. And I am very well saying this because at a legal standpoint, if he ever gets caught with doing that, you know, he's going to be facing some very, very hefty legal fines, and quite possibly eventually will be shut down because of doing so. Because that's how they track if you're running macro and everything else like that. It's not only just the eye movements by doing this and all this other stuff. That's not exactly how he figures this out. He figures it out by going inside your computer to see your task manager. Now, I learned this, and how I know this is because I was former staff on the first PBO, and he actually showed me this, and he actually showed me him doing this to the illusion leader, because that's how he figured it out. He actually showed us the files and stuff like that in the video call. And I'm like, what the hell? And then I find out, I think it was from you or somebody else that told me that that's very illegal to do that. And so I did research into that, and yes, it is. If you do not have the consent or the illegal authorization from that person, you cannot be going inside someone else's computer like that. That's invasion of privacy. And that's exactly what he's continuously still doing. You're not allowed to do that in any of these fan-made MMO games or anything else like that at all. That's why there's bots that will detect it. But that's not a bot that he's using. It's actual software. Do not know the name of the software, so I cannot elaborate what it's called. But I could definitely tell you, though, it is definitely a software. It is not a bot. You're not being detected by a bot. You're being detected by him, or if he had passed on the software to the moderation team. So just keep that in mind if you're playing in Pokemon Blaze Online. If you want your invasion of privacy and them being able to go inside your files and everything else like that, then be prepared for it. And that's just that is not a rumor. This is a fact. And if I would have known back then what I was previous to, then I would have definitely have said something and brought it to some kind of attention, because you cannot be doing that. So it's not TeamViewer or anything like that either. And I mean, that's another way he also knew that people were using TeamViewer to do the botting back then, just because he used that software. So that's a big yikes, honest to God. But yeah, is there anything else that you would like to elaborate? Any other cons or anything like that about Pokemon Blaze Online that you do not really enjoy being back in your small time that you were back in there for?
I mean, it still has a future if it wants. They just need to step it up, start working on the important shit, which they recently started doing so. Take a look at your moderator team, because they're supposed to be representing the players and not
exactly
an automated machine which replies for you that the game is going well, etc.
Yep.
And we'll see. Just need to wait and see. But for the near future, I don't see myself playing it. Maybe I will hop on for a Crew Wars once in a while, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I've only gone on there maybe about once or twice just to see what's going on, but I see this whole battle pass thing, and I mean, yeah, you can buy the battle pass at the store, but you're still not unlocking the other side. So that is you have to pay for it, and you have to pay for these mounts, the cosmetics, and all that. I like how P1 does it, because when you're paying for it, it's just the luck of the draw. You're not guaranteed anything. You know what I mean? You're not guaranteed the certain item you want. That they're doing it. In my opinion, I feel they're doing it proper. And in PRO. They have that option as well too. You could either buy the gift boxes kind of style, or you could just buy the item straight, right out of it, whatnot. But that's an option. It's not going to weigh you down by playing the game if you don't have it. You know what I mean? And in PBO, it kind of feels like it's going to weigh you down a bit by not having, that other half of that side, because there's still some things in that other battle pass side that you're not going to get in straight game story or finding it around the map. You know what I mean? So I mean, in its own little tiny element, it kind of is like a pay to win, because you could still not get some of these items, like that mount that's at the very top, right? You're not going to find that cosmetic mount inside of the donation, because it's not there. It's meant to be in there. So by you're not paying to win by running around on a mount. Don't get me wrong, but there are certain items.
You don't need those.
You don't. That's what I'm saying. You don't need the mount, but there are certain items or TMs or something like that you cannot possibly get in the game without unlocking that other side of the battle pass. So that could be in a tiny little element of a pay to win, because that's the only way you're going to get it. I mean, it's not going to make you win. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I mean, maybe if that moveset is something for a PvP team that you absolutely need, you can't get it in the game, then that's gonna help you win. So I mean, technicality says that's a pay to win, right? If it is locked behind that box.
I mean, it
Seven
wasn't.
TMs now in Battle
Yeah.
Tower and now there's a lot. I don't know which
Well,
ones are missing, but
Yeah, it was a bit quote unquote pay to win early because you get an evolution stone, you get 2 TMs or TRs,
Yeah.
but now there's accessibility to pretty much everything we need. So it's more to help the game out if you buy these.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. It just looks to me, and to anybody else that's brand new to that, that would go into that, the appealing look to it, like when they see all this, they'd be like, well, it's a pay to win, like that. That's how they feel. Like it's just more, not a lot of other people, not a lot of people understand the whole pay to win aspect either. I mean, I was kind of one of them too until I had both you explain it to me as well. But there are still some tiny elements of it in there. I mean, I don't know, Delcos, if you can confirm or deny this, but is it still in PBO the boxes for certain Pokemon? Is that a thing or is that not a thing?
No.
Nah.
No.
I don't think there's anything pay to win anymore.
All right. So what
in
about the
this game.
healers? Is the healers that's still locked to a membership,
They're
correct?
Free. No, they're free. They're free.
Everywhere you go, they're free. It's not locked to a membership. Then the
far as
teleporters,
I know,
you can still
yes.
use the teleporters, but pay with your own cash unless it's cheaper
Yeah.
if you have a
If
membership.
anything, he's been adding. He added teleporters. Healers all over the place. Like in all the new areas, there's like a teleporter. A healer everywhere. You
Yeah,
go.
it takes a few weeks to add the healer to the teleporter, but they come eventually.
So overall, though, we've established though, Shadow, there's probably a very, very, very low chance of you returning to PBO. You're burnt out of P1 for right now. You're just not really feeling the Pokemon MMOs right now because they're shit, correct?
Yeah, can put it that way, yes.
Yeah.
I feel like my Pokemon era will be stopped very soon and I will focus on different games. Maybe I will try out the actual MMOs that are coming out, like New World, which is the next plan.
Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah! I can't wait for New World.
I have been playing Call of Duty for the last year almost.
Yep.
I kind of stopped from that as well now. So now I'm shifting.
You Genshin
New World.
Impact.
Genshin Impact, I'm pretty into it right now.
Yeah, I
mean,
know. I
like,
see it every day. You're playing it. It is a
I'm
good
2
game,
weeks.
though. It is a good game.
Yeah, I'm 2 weeks into it. It's still fun. I'm getting restricted a bit with the energy game style kind of limitation, but we'll see. For the near future, I think New World will be the main game for a while.
Yeah, definitely me too. I was playing Elder Scrolls Online there for a bit, but I'm not returning back to that. I'm gonna definitely wait it out for New World. I'll be balancing, obviously P1 and New World together, because like you said, I took a 2-year break. So I mean, me coming into this content now for P1, for me it's amazing. It's like like a refresh of of a new environment because I took so long away. So maybe this might help you, and if this thing becomes, where it is in 2 years from where I've come back, then, you might enjoy it as well too. You never know. Because, my time, like I said, the time that I was on P1, it was very limited content to what we had. It was very different time zone. I mean, a time frame, sorry. But now I come back, there's so much content, there's so much things to do, for me at least, and I'm really, really enjoying it right now. I think Shane, Rusty, the development team, have been doing great. I do not know the political side of it, but I've been learning from you as well. So I mean, and I'm still gonna be all for P1, obviously, considering I've come back brand new to it and everything else like that. So maybe I will eventually see what maybe you have been talking about as well, because I know I want to dip into the PvP finally. Actually stick to a game as well too, like stick to this Pokemon, and see where the future goes again, so I'm really actually looking forward to it. I don't know about you, Delquest. I think you're kind of like on a break as well too from P1, aren't you?
I mean, the thing is, I've been too lazy PvP in general.
Okay, so it's just laziness from Delquest. Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't think you're not doing crew wars anymore as well, right? For a
Some-
while. I still go. Okay.
You still go? Didn't know you still did.
Yeah, but not like every single one, like the Friday and Saturday one I try to do.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, well, I think that is everything we had to talk about, Mr. Shadow. Is there anything else you would like to address or anything like that at all? Is there anything you'd like to say to maybe these new players that are coming into these MMOs? Give them an idea of what to expect and not to expect, kind of shortly.
I mean, if you're a casual player, stick to P1. The other MMOs are all too grindy for any kind of busy player. If you have a job, school, whatever, you probably won't make it in the other MMOs.
Yeah, and so
The best
we're talking
would
like
be-
Pokemon MMO, PRO, and definitely PBO. Definitely PBO.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Pokemon MMO. They have like the breeding system. I don't know how grindy it is.
And
The
kind of dipped in a
apparently
little bit of it.
Yeah, apparently it is the best PvP scene game
Mm-hmm.
around, but it's limited. Like, it doesn't have fairy typing. It has a lot of stuff missing. I forgot what they have.
I don't
Or
know if
what they
that's the
don't
one
have.
that had the hidden abilities or if they don't have it. I don't know.
No hidden abilities, no fairy
Yeah.
typing,
Yeah,
and a lot more.
yeah. So, I mean,
So
there's
if
a
you
lot
want
of
to learn how
elements
to
missing.
be-
Yeah, I would agree with you
Yeah.
on that too. Poke 1 would be way
Is
more for
Pokemon-
the casuals.
Pokemon will have team preview.
not sure, maybe.
I don't know. Remember that one day I showed you the team battles and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I don't know. I can't remember now.
They have a lot
I
of
think
tournaments
I
though,
think it did. So,
Yeah, I
which is
think it did.
interesting.
I don't know. I don't remember. I can't recall now. I haven't been back on it since I started back into P1. So P1 will be my
Right.
only game that I play. But Shadow, thank you for dropping by. I'm pretty sure everybody enjoyed hearing what your thoughts and your current landscape on everything. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
So,
Welcome.
appreciate that. Yeah, I'll catch up with you in a little bit. Del, I'm gonna go on mute for a real quick sec so I wrap up the stream here. So
mhm.
just give me a minute. All right.
Yeah, see you guys.
Yeah, later, Shadow.
See ya.
Right back, Del. All right, guys. Just give me 1 second. Throw my camera on there. There we go. Yeah, that's kind of interesting stream we had here today, guys. I really enjoyed that. It's really really good idea that that this is brought up to my attention. To start doing more podcasts and whatnot. So I really enjoy it. And I hope you guys really enjoyed it as well too. I'm definitely gonna be doing more podcasts for sure. I'm gonna try to do it every Friday. I'll advertise it throughout the week while I'm streaming, so you guys can kind of have like a better idea of the time frame that I have, for these podcasts and who we might have on here as for the podcast. It could be different subjects. The only thing I will not ever do is I will not touch on, political and religion. I will not touch on any of that kind of stuff. That is definitely no go, giant red flags. So, but I mean, like subjects like we just heard Pokemon MMOs or streaming platforms. Just a bunch of varieties. You kind of understand what I'm saying. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to starting to do more of these. And if anybody would like to reach out to me or join my Discord, which is underneath my videos or on YouTube, there's a link there for my Discord. You guys are more than welcome to join. If you guys want to contact me and maybe set up like a schedule or anything like that for a future podcast, just let me know. Book it in and we'll go from there. But yeah, I appreciate you guys all showing up today. Appreciate the host, the follow. Means a lot to me, guys. Yeah, I will probably be back Monday or Tuesday, probably Tuesday, to continue Pokemon's gameplay through. I might be going to Univo by then. Not 100% sure yet. I'm trying to get up to level 60 in Johto, or 60, that's what I am now. Level 80 in Johto, so I can finally, kind of complete the regions, because I do want to go to Kalos after I'm done Univo, but I got to do other side quests in the meantime as well. So if anybody here as well too that is new or it's in Poke1, if you guys are looking for a guild, Bullet Club is recruiting. That is our initial original guild, as you heard from me earlier in the stream. I brought back Bullet Club. It's been established in 2018 as well, the same as Mystery of Void. But of course, we all disbanded, but we all came back again. Well, some of us, anyways, not all of us, but yeah, some of us come back. So we're calling this Bullet Club Revival. So we're, hopefully to get some kind of the same success. We are a PvP/PvE guild, so, and we are very open to helping out and maybe doing some guild events and stuff like that. We'll see how it goes. Maybe a PvP scene. Who knows? Yeah, I'm just throwing out some ideas, but we're very, very friendly, very, very open. If you guys need any help or anything like that at all, just feel free to reach out. And yeah, Bullet Club is looking to recruit. So if you guys are looking for anywhere to go, like I said, join my Discord. I keep the Bullet Club as well in my main Discord as well. I don't like to separate it. I like to keep everything, all together, because my Discord is extreme IX gaming community. I like to keep everybody together instead of having a 3 or 4 Discords and everything like that. It's hard to maintain. So, but yeah, more than welcome. Anybody that would like to join up with the Bullet Club. Like I said, Tuesday, I probably will be back by Tuesday. Yeah, and I'll stream some more Pokemon gameplay. Thank you guys again for all coming by. Hopefully you guys have a great afternoon, good morning, or good evening, however it works. Yeah, thank you guys, and yeah, looking forward to seeing you hopefully Tuesday. Till then, later guys.